I play a guy called David Percival, who is the station chief in Berlin just before the fall of the Berlin Wall, and he's been there for a few years. And the world that we paint is one in which, or the sort of espionage spy world that we paint is one where Berlin is a very different beast from anywhere else in the world. It's way more like the Wild West in terms of espionage. A lot of the operatives have gone feral, or as their bosses say, they've gone local, they've gone native. And my guy is sort of the epitome of that. He's sort of riddled with drug abuse, alcohol abuse, probably sexually transmitted diseases, and a love of the game that is espionage, and a hate for it at the same time. So he's sort of self-consuming and self-aggrandizing at the same time.
Fantastic. And do you mind telling me just what part of it would be what you just said, but what appealed to you about the story as a whole and the character in particular? If you repeat what you said,
probably the things that appealed to me the most in the script were its sexiness, its unabashed aim to entertain, it's cool as you like. In fact, the director, when he offered me the script, sent me a lookbook, which was a sort of idea of his visual ideas for the film. And they were the sexiest, coolest things you'll ever seen in your life. And he actually says in it, I want every single scene in this movie to look cool as. And I want every guy to want to be in it. I want every woman to want to be Charlize in it. I want it to ooze with sex and coolness. And then I came along and I sort of, I'm a bit of an antidote to all that because I'm less sex and I'm more filth. But it was fun to do.
Was there any sort of interesting story behind your casting? Was it just a straightforward thing? Did David come hunting for you? Did Charlize beg you to do it?
I don't think... Charlize sent me an email just saying she thought I was the greatest actor she'd ever... No, I'm not joking. Yeah, she sent me an email, but that was it. And no, I read the script, I responded to it. I think they thought they were going to have to chase me because it wasn't the lead or anything, but I was just so into the part and into the story and into the fun of it. It's a real fun... It's not a po-faced espionage movie with people in anoraks, like looking around corners as the rain comes down with hats and, you know, a lot of talking. There is a lot of talking, but it's fun, the talking, and then the action is just out of this world, and you could tell from the page, and telling who our director is and what he's done before, you knew there was going to be just a brutality, but an ability to execute that brutality and actually know how to film that brutality in a way that you don't see all the time. I see so many movies that are filled with exceptional brutality and violence, which, you know, we seem to be obsessed with, and I like watching it sometimes. But I don't actually see any of it. I don't actually see the art of it. We build these pictures of these, like, you know, artful killers of people, and you never get to really see any of it. And he is a master technician. It's showing you the machine of what is happening from second to second, from beat to beat, from punch to kick to broken jaw to whatever, and it's utterly compelling. And I'm, you know, I say this guiltily. It's a pleasure to watch.
Obviously, Charlize gets to do a bit more kicking and fighting than you do, but from what you just said...
Yeah, I get very little.
But you do get some.
Yeah.
So can you tell me how what you just said actually works practically? Do you sit down and work out each movement beat by beat, or do you train just...
Yeah, you know, he's... our director, he is you know, he's an ex-stuntman, he's also an ex... director of pretty much stunts. Being a second unit director, you're in charge of all the stunts, you know. So he knows not only how to choreograph something, but he also knows where to put the cameras to best show the audience what he's choreographed. So yeah, we learn it. There's no point really just turning up on the day and busking it, because then the camera's got to busk it as well. So if he knows what he's going to shoot, he can prepare where he wants to put the cameras, and then the audience get the best possible opportunity to actually enjoy and see and be connected to what's happening, instead of just seeing a flurry of fists, you know. So yeah, I mean, you got some input. If a movie ain't working for you, you can go, can I try this instead or whatever. But yeah, it's very detailed, very choreographed, very, very thought out work.
You said it's fun to watch. Is it fun to do? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, he's a dramatic actor, but everyone likes a bit of rough and tumble, don't they?
Yeah, totally. We all do. Again, you know, I had a ball on this movie because as much as the fighting was very, very choreographed, they've let me sort of improvise a lot as well, and I love doing that, especially when you've got a character who's got a burning desire to offend people. It's great. It's an absolute joy to do. So doing the rough and tumble and doing the rough dialogue as well was just lovely.
Now, can you tell me how impressed you were with Charlize as an action star, particularly? Because, like somebody said earlier, some of those sequences went after you shoot Spyglass. I mean, that fight they have in the stairs is relentless. Now it's flinching.
Oh, it's unbelievable. That fight is, I think it's the best fight I've ever watched. And you can put it up against things like Crouching Tiger and Touching Cloth and all of that. And for me, it's a very different style, and I think it's a matter of taste which you prefer. But for me, I prefer what Charlize did and what Dave did. I think. How do I feel about her as an action star? She's sacrificial, and she sacrificed her body. She was like one of those centre backs that you want in the Premiership that when managers say they want people putting their bodies on the line. She's like that, you know. She hurt herself for this movie. She got cracked ribs. I think she still requires some kind of dental surgery. I think I might be making that up, but I think she is. She was a real warrior. And you know, she's fighting big guys, and of course, all right, you know, nobody's looking to swing for each other or really hurt each other. We're trying to do it in a way where nobody gets hurt, but you know, you can't get flung down those stairs the way that she did in that scene that you're talking about without it taking its toll. And by the way, we made this movie for not a lot of money, so you didn't have that kind of big budget schedule where you can afford to go, do you know what, I've pulled something in my back, I need to take a day off. We were working 6 days a week, and we were working crazy hours in minus 10 degrees in Budapest, and then latterly in Berlin, and she did not grumble. She was just there slogging away in the trenches. And I've worked with a few the big action people, do you know what I mean? And she's up there with the Hugh Jackmans and all of that.
How do you enjoy, well, again, you touched on it already, but how do you enjoy David's input? He's been like Brad Pitt's stuntman before. Did he tell you any fun stories? Did
he tell me that? He was like, you know, I've been Brad Pitt's stuntman. I've heard a lot of stories from him. The funniest one is probably his first day. If you ever get to interview him, I don't know if you probably interview him for this at some point. I hope you do. Ask him about his first day on a film set doing a driving stunt. I think it was in the middle of the desert, which is just incredible. The fact that he's had a career after that day is exceptional.
Can you tell me a bit about, again, we imagine Berlin, particularly that time, to be very cold, austere. You've talked about all the, cloak and dagger stuff, but the fact that it's kind of really neon lit, the world you live in, and quite hedonistic, and we see what precipitates the fall of the wall. Can you talk to me a bit about that?
Yeah, no, the world that we set the film in is alive, and it's vibrant, and it's people without anything trying to make something, trying to live, trying to love. Very much that kind of thing. Somebody said this to me about Shameless. I can't remember what. I think it was actually Anne-Marie's mother or something like that. Said it's what you do when you don't have anything. You shag each other. Do you know what I mean? And you dance and you drink and you party. You know. And we take that approach of showing what East and West Berlin were like at that time, and the jeopardy inspiring a kind of frenzy and a kind of adrenaline. in the people that are involved in it, and the bystanders, the civilians that were involved in it too. Not saying that it's 100%. This is the way Berlin was. This is an artistic eye on what Berlin was like at the time, and this artistic eye is neon lit, sex and drug and alcohol fueled, and people not just. People not spying and dying for king and country, but people spying and dying for the love of it and the sheer hate of it at the same time, being compelled to do it.
I hate to put you on the spot like this, but whatever comes to mind, some of your fondest memories of shooting this, what comes to mind if I ask you that? Anything anecdotal is fantastic.
Doing a scene in which I wake up apparently having had a threesome to find myself wearing a plaster cast and tied to a bedpost. That was coming up with that in like 5 minutes, and the director and the producers going like, yeah, that'd be a great idea. That was hilarious. And I was really pleased. There's that kind of creativity and freedom in it, I found. Doing a scene... working with Eddie Marsan again was a great joy, and just standing there freezing our bums off in minus 10 degrees, pretending that we're warm with Charlize Theron, who's wearing like a mini skirt, and like that was it, like a mini skirt and a tank top, and me wearing a string vest tank top as well, trying to do scenes and pretend that we're warm. It was pretty funny.
You were very stylishly dressed in this.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Did you research the era and the period, or was that not really necessary given the nature of the movie?
Not so much the era and the period, but because it was a very such a stylised approach to it that I feel like the world was created in the script. What I did research was the spy game and spies themselves, and as much as we were shown, arguably a heightened or quite obviously a heightened and not utterly realistic version of spy life, or what it was like to be involved in the spy game at that time or ever. They were all still rooted in truth, I think. And the things that I found that were very illuminating were things like MI5 post-war, actually actively looking for alcoholics, looking for closeted gay men, people who were able to be functional in society but had always held a secret. And that was something that I took into the character. Somebody who was very good at hiding things but who was being consumed by something that he was hiding as well. And so I made him an alcoholic, and I tried to make him gay, but they wouldn't let me because they wanted something else to happen in the movie and all that kind of stuff. But I thought that was a really interesting thing, that they were actually looking for people who had been actively hiding things. And also the other reason they actively looked for alcoholics as well is because they thought possibly they would be expendable. They'll die by the time they're in their 40s or their 50s, so they can die with all their secrets. Incredible selection criteria.
Would you mind doing that one sentence thing of what you hope perhaps audiences might take from it?
Truly what I hope audiences take from this is just have an amazing, great, adrenaline-filled, fun time at the movie. That's what it's designed to do. And, connect with the characters and fear for them and love for them and hate for them and all of that. But it's, I hope they just have a rip-roaring time seeing some of the best fighting they've ever seen in their lives.